Hello and welcome back to JS Physics again. In today's video, I will be discussing Kirchhoff's laws. As told in the previous video, these are the laws which we are using to simplify complicated electrical networks. If you haven't seen my previous video, please go through it before moving further in this video link. The link for the previous video is given here. So let us start. Basically, there are two Kirchhoff's laws, and we'll see these laws one by one. But before we go for the Kirchhoff's law, actually, we will have to look at certain terms which are useful to describe Kirchhoff's laws. One of the term is junction. What is junction? Any point in the electrical network where two or more than two conductors are meeting, that is said to be an electrical junction in a particular circuit. Another term is loop. Now, whichever circuit we are looking at may be having large number of closed paths, and this closed conducting path in an electrical network is known as loop in a particular circuit. Third term is branch. It is any part of the network that lies between any two junctions. Now let us understand these terms with the help of diagram. Here you can see a simple circuit is given to you consisting of three cells having internal resistance R1, R2 and R3. Here we can say junctions are two, point A and point D. These are the electrical junctions. And on this junction in a given circuit, three conductors are meeting. So that will be electrical junction. Now loop. Here there are basically three closed loops. One is A, B, C, D, A. This is one closed loop. Another is A, D, E, F, A. This is the second closed loop. And third is A, B, C, D, E, F, A. That means from whichever point we are starting, after moving in a circuit, we have to come back to the same point. So that will give you a branch in a particular network. So now as we are familiar with the terms junction, loop and branch, we can go to the Kirchhoff's laws. First law, the algebraic sum of electric current at a junction is zero in a given electrical network. That means sigma of I is equal to zero. That means the total current at a particular junction is always zero. That is the first law of Kirchhoff. Now, the sign convention which we are adopting here is this. The current coming towards the junction is taken as positive and current leaving the junction is taken as negative. Let us see one simple example. Here six conductors are connected at a point P. That means point P will be a electrical junction. Now in all these particular conductors, current will be either coming toward the junction or going away from the junction. In this particular case, I1 is coming toward the junction, I2 is going away from the junction, I3 and I4 coming toward the junction, and I5 and I6 are leaving the junction. So according to our sign convention, if we apply the sign convention and apply Kirchhoff's first law, in that case, we can write I1 positive, I2 negative, again I3 and I4 positive, and I5 and I6 negative. That means we'll get I1 minus I2 plus I3 plus I4 minus I5 minus I6 is equal to 0. So this is how we have to apply Kirchhoff's first law to an electrical junction. Now what is the meaning of this? If I simplify the given equation, I can again rewrite it as I1 plus I3 plus I4 is equal to I2 plus I5 plus I6. That means the total current coming towards the junction is equal to total current leaving the junction. That means there is no accumulation of the charge at an electric junction. Whatever charge comes, it has to go. And that's why this law is in accordance with the law of conservation of charge. So that is what we have to learn about Kirchhoff's first law. Now we'll be doing a small activity, and as I told in the previous video also, you see the question, solve it, pause the video, solve it, and then check the answer. So that is a method which we have to follow during each activity. So let us start. We have to find the value of the current in this circuit, value of current I, the branch PQ, the conductor PQ, how much current it carries, that we have to find by using Kirchhoff's law. So pause the video, find the answer and check the answer. The answer will be 6 ampere. Let us quickly do the another one. Again, we have to find the value of current I in this particular conductor. This one, calculate it. You'll be getting the answer of 18 amperes. 18 amperes. Third activity, same way you can proceed and you'll get the answer of 1.7 ampere. So these are the small circuits in which we can apply Kirchhoff's first law. So basically it is a law of conservation of charge. Let us move to the Kirchhoff's second law, also known as voltage law. The algebraic sum of potential differences and EMF in a closed loop is 0. That means sigma IR plus sigma E is equal to 0. So how to apply and what are the sign conventions? Let us see. Sign convention. Now, first of all, we have to decide in which direction we want to trace the loop. Now, the loop can be traced in two different ways, clockwise or anti-clockwise. Let us take clockwise. In that case, while tracing the loop, we may come across some resistance. That if we come across a resistance and if the current is in the direction of tracing the loop, then we have to take that voltage means IR product as negative. If the current is opposite to our tracing direction, then that product IR will be taken as positive. So that is the first sign convention. Another sign convention is while tracing the loop, if we come across a cell or battery, then inside the cell or battery, if we travel from negative to positive, then that EMF will be taken as positive, otherwise it is taken as negative. So by using these sign conventions, we can apply Kirchhoff's voltage law to a given loop. So let us see how we can apply it. While tracing clockwise, suppose if we come across resistance R1 in which current is I1, then that product of IR, any voltage, is taken as a minus I1 R1 because we are going in the direction of decreasing potential. The left side point will be at a higher potential and the other side will be at a lower potential. And we know that the current always flow from higher potential to lower potential. And that's why we have taken minus I1 R1 as the potential is decreasing. Suppose if we come across a cell or EMF, what happens in that case? Suppose this is the case. So if we are tracing the loop in clockwise, we are going inside the cell from positive to negative. That means we are going in the direction of decreasing potential. And that's why that will be taken as minus E1. Okay. So this is how we can apply Kirchhoff's second law to a given branch. Let us again take one example. This is a simple electrical circuit in which we can see there are three loops. Which three loops? One A, B, E, F, A and the other is B, C, D, E, B. Third is A, B, C, D, E, F, A. So three different closed loops are there. Now we have to apply Kirchhoff's law to these three different loops. And let us see how we are applying. So first let us apply Kirchhoff's law to first loop A, B, E, F, A. So as I mentioned earlier, we will be following the clockwise movement. So if I move in the clockwise in the first loop, I am going from A to B. That means my potential difference is minus I1 R1. From B to E branch, it is again minus I1 plus I2 is the total current into R4. Then from E to F, again minus I1 R3. And inside the cell from F to A, we are traveling from negative to positive. That means that EMF will be taken as positive. So plus E1 is equal to 0. Now you apply the same law to another loop B, C, D, E, B. Pause the video, write it down, and then check the answer. So in this case, we'll be getting I2R2 minus E2 plus I1 plus I2 into R4 is equal to 0. So that is how we can apply Kirchhoff's law to second loop. Now apply Kirchhoff's law to ABC, DEFA, right? So apply Kirchhoff's law to this loop. Pause the video, write the equation, and then check it. You should be able to get this equation very easily, right? That means for each and every loop, we will be getting one equation. But generally, to solve the numericals, we will apply the first Kirchhoff's law and then we'll find what are the independent loops inside that circuit, right? So we'll choose some direction of current, then we'll apply the second loop to all independent loops, then we'll get certain equations, solve these equations simultaneously, and then you'll be getting the answer of I1, I2, whatever current will be flowing in a given branch. Suppose if you get the value of current to be negative, that means the actual value of the current is same, but the direction is negative you are getting. So the direction of current which we have assumed in the circuit is opposite to the actual current, right? So that is the meaning of negative value of current in the result. Let us perform one activity. As I told you, during the activity, you read the question, solve, and then see the answer. This is one particular circuit in which three loops are there again. Now you'll be able to identify the loops and you'll be able to get the equations. Whichever equations you get, you solve them simultaneously and you'll be getting the values of current I1 and I2. Once you get I1, I2, you can apply Kirchhoff's first law to get I3, which is nothing but I1 plus I2. Second activity, again a cell of EMF 3 volt and internal resistance 4 ohms is connected to two resistance 10 and 24 in parallel. You have to find the current in each resistance using Kirchhoff's law. So first you will try to redraw the circuit, draw the circuit diagram, assume the value of the current. Generally we take the current traveling from positive of the battery to negative of the battery or cell, and then proceed with the similar example as in the previous case. So similar method you can follow to get the values of the current as given in the answer. So practice similar type of sums because the practice only will make you perfect, right? So that's it for today. And now our next topic will be Whiston's bridge. So coming soon with the next topics on Whiston bridge. Thank you very much.